What are the biggest student loan mistakes, and how can you avoid making those mistakes so you don't end up with a pile of debt when you graduate college? That's what we're going to talk about in today's video. If you like videos like this, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the like button. Hi, I'm Ryan Swayt, and I used to be a two-time college dropout, making just $12 an hour. Then I learned how to hack college and earned an entire bachelor's degree in 9 months flat. Subscribe to my channel and I'll show you how. All right, so the biggest mistakes people make when borrowing money for school. Number one is they borrow first, okay? Number one resort is to borrow money, and they borrow a lot of it and end up paying off student loans for years and years. Listen, the average amount of time people make student loan payments is 21 years, okay? 21 years. The average monthly payment for student loans is $400, okay? $400 a month for 21 years. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy, right? The reason for this, and by the way, those numbers keep going up. The reason for this is because our culture is getting more used to borrowing. Back in the day when our parents and our grandparents would try to go to college and get college degrees, they did it the old-fashioned way. If they didn't have the money, they got extra jobs, they got side jobs, they worked, they saved, they were conservative with their budgets and with their money, and they made as much extra money as they could to pay for college. Guess what? Today, that's still an option. It's still an option. Now, if you're wondering, well, like I can't make an extra 100 grand or an extra 50 grand for tuition, it's just not on the table, so I just won't go to college. Don't think that. I've got some cool stuff for you coming up in just a second. But borrowing as a first resort is not the right way to take out a student loan. There are government grants, there are scholarships. If you haven't applied for a scholarship and you're borrowing money, you need to go back and start applying for scholarships and see if you can have somebody else pay for your school, okay? Now, number two is over borrowing or borrowing too much. What happens is that sometimes people, they stay the course, okay? What people do is they decide early on, I want to graduate from this university and I want to get this degree, and they don't really think about the cost. When the college approaches, if they can't afford that particular university, they still go and they borrow money. What I'm telling you is if you can't afford college, do not go to a crazy expensive school. Go to a cheaper school that's not going to get you into mounds and mounds of debt. Earn a degree, and if you want to go back and get a master's degree at a prestigious school later when your financial situation's better, that's always on the table. But I've got another video that talks about the maximum amount of money you should pay for a college degree if you're broke, and that maximum amount is $10,000. If you're paying more than $10,000 for a degree and you don't have that money, you need to leave the course you're on and come up with a new plan. I teach degree hacking, how to test out of your classes and not end up with a pile of debt, okay? Graduate in as little as 6 to 12 months in literally pennies on the dollar. You don't have to pay as much for that college degree. If that's a good option for you, I'm more than happy to help you. The point is, change your course, okay? Maybe you want to go to a really prestigious degree. Why not for your undergrad, go to a different school like a local community college or something like that, and then transfer over to get the bigger degree? Obviously, that process is crazy to me because I tested out of all my classes and graduated in 9 months. If that sounds easier to you, I'll show you how to do that. But that's the point is, if you can't afford your original game plan, change your game plan, okay? Don't stay the course. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is this is just not doing it the right way. what people do is they go to Google and they search student loans, and there are tons and tons of online companies that just hand out student loans like candy. And it's pretty easy to get those student loans as long as you're enrolled, but they charge really high interest rates. They have really weird stipulations for loans and stuff. Don't go to Google to find a student loan company. Okay? The number one thing you're going to do is you're going to look at federal student loans. Federal student loans are cheaper than private student loans. So don't go to Google and look for a private student loan, okay? Number two is walk in. If you have a good relationship with your bank, okay? If you have borrowed money, let's say you took out a car loan 3 years ago at your bank and you've never missed a payment, and you have a credit card and you always make your payments on time, and the bank trusts you and you have a good history of making your payments, walk into your bank and ask them about student loans, because sometimes your bank will have good interest rates as well. So those private companies that you find online, do not go to those companies to get a student loan. Federal student loans, or walk into a bank that you have good relationships with. And if you need other options, walk into a local college and ask them for advice, because they've got admissions offices where they help students enroll for school. Guess what? They want students to be able to pay for their school, so they have some good advice on teaching you how to get the best student loans or scholarships or grants. Now, next bit of advice, I'm going to add this on. Student loans should be your last resort, and I think I mentioned that before, but if you are thinking of getting a student loan and you have not applied for a FAFSA grant, go to Google and search for FAFSA. If you haven't applied for a FAFSA grant and you're trying to get a student loan, stop, go back and apply for the grant, because it's kind of crazy, but you can actually make kind of a lot of money and still get a FAFSA granted. They have all sorts of stipulations and stuff depending on how many kids you have and stuff like that. But FAFSA grants pay for a lot of tuition for students, okay? And if you qualify for a grant and you don't choose a crazy expensive school, what happens is a lot of times that grant's going to pay for 100% of your tuition. So that's number one. The FAFSA grant's number one. Number two is obviously going to be scholarships. If you can apply for scholarships and not pay for a student loan, that's way better. Now, I know I sound biased, okay, but I followed the process of degree hacking to earn my college degree in 9 months, and I came out of pocket about $200, okay? That's really cheap, and obviously you'd never have to take out a student loan for that amount of money. That's with scholarships and grants. If I paid 100% out of pocket, my entire degree would have cost me about $6,500 in tuition. That's way less than the average $10,000 per year, which is normally is going to be between $40,000 and $60,000 in tuition, just tuition alone, not books and all that other stuff. So if you want to learn how to earn your degree for literally pennies on the dollar, I've got a training that walks you through degree hacking, the whole process. You can go to diplomasecrets.com, or you can click the link. I'll leave it down below the video, and I'll walk you through the process. There's nothing for sale at the end of the video. You can just literally go watch it for free. But that is by far my best advice on how to pay for school if you don't have a lot of money, is to follow the process of degree hacking and test out of all your classes, skip all the homework, skip all the quizzes, don't read the textbooks, none of that stuff. I'll leave a link below if you want to learn more about that. I hope this video has helped. There's tons of information online about student loans. Do your digging and do your research, but don't make these mistakes, okay? Student loans, a lot of companies that are offering loans are going to try to pitch you or sell you and say, listen, you don't even have to start making payments until after you graduate college, and you'll get the pay raise, and the monthly payment's going to be low, and it's going to be super easy to pay off. That's simply not true. Like I said, the average student loan monthly payment is about $400 a month. And the average amount of time people make those payments is 21 years. That's not easy. That's hard, okay? So don't fall into the trap of just freely borrowing as much money as you need. If you're borrowing, like, a lot of people will say don't borrow anything. Do not borrow any money for school. My advice is if you're borrowing any more than $7,000 to $10,000, you're going way overboard, and you need to rethink your strategy. If you have any questions, you're welcome to leave comments down below. I do my best to answer all questions, and if you want me to teach you degree hacking, you can reach out to me as well, or you can click the link and watch that video. Yeah, I hope this has helped. I'm really, really hopeful that you can go to college and get a degree faster for less money. So good luck through that journey. I absolutely wish you the best. I'm here to help if you need it. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.